Good afternoon. My name is Hannah Kim. I'm an instructional designer with the Teaching and Learning with Technology team at Rutgers. I'm happy to introduce our presenter, Michael Steinbruck from the Boggs Center on Developmental Disabilities. His presentation title is Using Tablets and Drawing Tools in Live Video Conferencing Platform. And then his second presentation is about Cultura and Playposit. Brad into pre-recorded slideshows and lectures. First session will end at 3:25, and the second session will start right away. And during the presentation, please use a live Q&A to ask any questions of the presenter. I will bring those in the end of the session. And also at the end of presentation, there will be a short survey displayed, and any feedback you can provide will be greatly appreciated. Michael?
All right, thank you. So welcome everyone, and I appreciate being invited to present. Let me just share my screen real quick, and I think we'll be good to go. There we go. So I just wanted to thank the Rutgers folks for putting this on and giving everybody an opportunity to kind of share particularly what we've been learning during the pandemic, which kind of drove me to some new approaches as I've been working through a project at our center at Rutgers, supporting schools throughout the state. And I've always been fond of using graphics in teaching and training and planning. So it kind of pushed me to acquire an iPad, an Apple Pencil, and do some research on, kind of which would be the best tablet and stylus options, as well as software that I wanted to work with. So what I ended up with was the iPad fourth generation 12.9-inch screen, and also have a paper-like screen protector, which gives it a little more of a different texture when you're drawing on it. Some people like it, some people don't. That is compatible with the second generation pencil, but I'll talk about that. And then the app that I use on the iPad is ProCreate. I was hoping I could come in with that and actually demonstrate live. But we had some technical problems with this platform doing that. So I do have a recording that I think will be helpful. But first, let me go through a couple things. One, I just want to say thank you to Joe Yankus and Karen Harris, who were with the Teaching and Learning with Technology office, who've really helped us a lot at my center, at the Boggs Center in Pediatrics at the medical school at Rutgers. And I also want to thank Carl, helped me get ready for this presentation. So using tablets and drawing tools in live video conferencing platforms is the presentation. Essentially, this is what we're looking at. So we're looking at, this is a picture of the iPad. I actually like this iPad cover. Works real well with the Apple Pencil. There aren't many covers that do, but this is perfect. There's also another option, I think Logitech, that has a keyboard if you want that. I have that on another iPad, but for this I just kind of like it minimal. And then of course the Apple Pencil, which you can see here and also illustrated. So what I do is I do a lot of training through Rutgers, folks throughout the state of New Jersey. I also push into classrooms in schools throughout the state to support teachers. So I've been doing that virtually for basically a year, and the iPad is something that really kind of helped me sort of enhance what I was doing in the classroom, where I would do things on the wall and graphically and things like that. So I can share this information in this PowerPoint with anybody who wants it. You can feel free to email me, and I'll send it over to you. I'm gonna, so we have the, the iPad. Basically, if you want this iPad, I don't need any fancy bells or whistles or anything, just Wi-Fi, 128 gigs. It's like $999. So it's not cheap, but it's an amazing tool. and and of course the Apple Pencil. So I'm not an artist, but I want to give you one quick example to start. I have a picture. I drew this with the iPad with my daughter's with a picture I had for my daughter. So I'm just kind of giving you an example of like kind of what you can do with this, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Not because I'm an artist, but if with this particular setup, anything that you have that you want to recreate or draw over or augment, you can do. It's amazingly flexible. So this is what ProCreate looks like. This is the board. So you'll see here this is where your colors are. This is where your layers are. For those of you who are familiar with Adobe Photoshop, it's kind of like a simplified version of Photoshop in a lot of ways, which is actually pretty cool. I've been using Photoshop for a long time, and I know that this is much more, kind of less complex and a little more intuitive. This is where you can erase. This is where you can sort of smudge, and this is where your brushes are. So that looks like this. So this is really the palette. There's some different ways that you can get your color palettes. This is the one that I like best. You sort of get your general area, and then you hone in with the bigger circle, and it tells you what your color is up here. So that's a really easy way to find your colors. Then you kind of move over to this icon for brushes, and there's a whole array of different brushes you can use. You may not want to get that fancy. I like syrup because it kind of corrects, kind of my writing. Not that, like if you look at this, this is sort of syrup. It sort of makes it flow and make it look really nice, kind of coming out if I'm doing words. The other cool thing about it is that if you draw a circle and you just hold the pencil down when you finish the circle, it'll turn it into a perfect circle. So if you need shapes and things like that, you can draw them and just hold it, and they'll become perfect lines and that kind of thing. That's one way to do it. And here, you have a couple of simple controls on the side, which allow you to both make your, kind of increase the size of the pixels for what you're drawing. So you can draw very fine or very broad. And you can also change the transparency. So it can be full on, or it can be, kind of lighter or a percentage of transparency. So the one other thing that's really neat about this is it's just so natural and feels to the touch. If you are writing lightly, it's going to draw a thin line. If you press more, it's going to broaden the line. And it's incredibly intuitive and accurate. Sorry about that. Clean that up. And that's how you get to here. So ProCreate, very simply, you can kind of, from the time you open it, you start a new canvas. You have some defaults here, or you can customize it. And so you can kind of create something that is just this whole screen, so the regular screen size, which I often use, which is the screen up top. I generally don't need anything else. You have the ability to insert files or photographs. So if you want to, similarly to the way you can share a screen on Zoom and annotate on top, you can do the exact same thing here, but you can pull in a PDF or pull in a JPEG or pull in whatever you're pulling in, and then you can really use a layer on top of that, and it actually works far better kind of here, and I'll show you some examples of that. So you can pull pictures. Here's just some pictures that I had in here of different family members and things. But you can pull pictures just like you're on your phone if you use an iPhone or whatever. Here's one I did of like John and Yoko. I kind of pulled a photo. I was actually using this photo to learn to use the brushes and become familiar with the iPad itself. That's what I thought would work best. To get me trained up real quick. So you'll see here there are layers. So similar, if you're familiar with Photoshop, you can have as many layers as you want. And you can imagine, for those of you of a certain age like I am, you can think back to when you had an overhead projector and you had thin plastic, kind of overhead projections, and you might put one on top of another and it would build an image that was projected. Same thing with layers. It's like building a transparent sheet on top of each other with different pieces of it, and you can kind of develop it. So if you think of me putting a piece of plastic over this photo and then drawing and having all these different colors or brushes, that kind of thing, and then being able to create this. So it was done on top of this. And I'll show you another example. I can actually show you a time lapse. And this is another key feature of this, is that even if you don't use any of that stuff and you just want to show the progression of, say you're a math teacher, you want to show the progression of, kind of working out an equation. You can kind of do all that on here, and then you can press play and it'll play a recording of the whole process. So I can do that if I'm painting a picture, and then it kind of shows it all kind of, in a almost a time lapse, or anything else you want to do. So that's kind of what that looks like. And here's this sort of time lapse replay, and you can record it, you can export it. Super easy. You can just press a button and it puts it right into a Google Drive, or puts it in an email, or puts it in a text, or whatever you want to do from your, that you have set up. Like Photoshop, there are a number of different, kind of visual kind of features and filters and things like that. I honestly don't use them that much, but all those things are there if you're really into it. This is an app that artists use, but there's just no reason anybody can't use it. It's $9.99, so it's that's it. You buy it in the App Store when you have your iPad, and then you have it. I haven't found anything better, and I don't. I'd be surprised if there was something better. Sorry about that one too. So there you go. And then you have some other, kind of features down here. I'm not going to go into the details of those, but, just as some example, if I click this rectangle, I can just sort of take my stylus and sort of, pull out and put whatever size shape, rectangle or square I have there, and I can just drag the color from the color palette and drop it right in, and it'll fill it up. So it's very easy to kind of put some graphic, kind of images and things together. Same thing with the ellipse. I can draw a circle or oval or whatever, and it'll create the shape. I can drag a color into it, and boom, it is what it is. So there you go. I can also take an existing one and customize the dimensions. So that's another thing we can do right here. And you can just see it keeps your kind of library of images. These are just some very basic things, working with some students with disabilities. So I was working on some things with some classroom lessons with them. So it helps to make the classroom experience very interactive. For me, pushing in from the outside, I'm not sitting in a classroom with a whiteboard, but I can kind of come in Zoom with both my account and the iPad, and I can share screen with one and they can still see me with the other. That's what I hoped we could do today, but we didn't quite get there. So that's what it looks like. So I just wanted to, if we could, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come over here. I think I'm good. And I want to show you, I'm going to hide this thing. If I get out of screen share, it's one of the challenges of using new technology for the first time. Okay, I just want to show you this real quick. See, I'm back. So I realized I couldn't narrate that for you, so apologies. let's see. So I can, okay. So that was an example of just a time-lapse replay of something. So again, you know, that's, you could, any number of things you wanted to do if you wanted to show the progression of it. You know, some of those info, whatever you call them, informatics or whatever, you know, kind of show things being drawn out, or basic equations or things like that. So there's lots of possibilities with that. But that's just an old picture. I used it to practice and learn the tool. Found it was an effective way to kind of do that, and that's kind of where we're at. So that's essentially what I wanted to show you, is kind of what's possible with you know, the iPad and the Apple Pencil, and kind of coming into Zoom. And so if there's any questions, so I gotta, do I need to change something here? We're good, okay. So, okay, so let me go over to, so if you all, I'm gonna go over in the discussion forum. Are there any questions anyone has on using this tech, or how, you know, I've been using it, or how it might be helpful to you? So we can, so if you want to run that other video. So as a backup, I prepared a video just in case the technology didn't work for me to do a live demonstration. So this will kind of give you another sense of it. Yep. Hello and welcome. So my name is Michael Steinbruck, and right now I'm on presentation mode in PowerPoint for our presentation at the Rutgers Online Learning Conference. You'll see me in a second pop up here. So this is using tablets and drawing tools in live video conferencing platforms, specifically using the iPad 4th generation 12.9 inch screen iPad with the Apple Pencil, 2nd generation Apple Pencil. And the app we'll be using is the ProCreate app. So basically, you know, an iPad of this nature costs about just under $1,000, I think, and the Apple Pencil, you know, maybe 160 or 200 bucks, depending. And then finally, the ProCreate app is an amazing app, and it's only $9.99. So this is what the setup looks like. I know some of this information is redundant, but I figured it would give you a visual. I can't give you platform to be on air. So yeah, if you want to fast forward a little bit, Alana, that's I think the most popular, and to get to where we can see the iPad, the best video conferencing platform to use. So I wanted to kind of show you how that. They've heard I gave them the presentation, but because I to join, I had invited, sent the link. Okay, so leave it. Yeah, leave it there. So email that picked up on the iPad. So I'm going to say I'm going to join with video. Yeah, why don't you mute the video? And one of the things. So basically, yep. So basically, oh, can you? It's still running. So what I'm doing is obviously I'm coming into Zoom as another account, and then I'll have my primary, and then be able to share screen from the iPad, and that kind of gives you. Yep. So this will give you a sense of what it looks like. You might be able to fast forward a little bit, Alana. Yep. Yep. So I'm just picking. Yeah, you can go ahead and fast forward.
Michael, this is just gentle reminder to let you know 5 minutes left for the session.
Yep, I think we're good. I just want to give them a visual of kind of what it looks like when it's on the screen. So sure. Maybe keep fast forwarding Alana, until you get to, there you go. So now what you have is on the right of the PC, you see me presenting. On the left is the shared iPad screen. And then that's really a blank canvas. So I'm holding the Apple Pencil, and I can basically draw anything I want. And there's really very minimal kind of delay. So once I draw it, it's pretty much happening in front of the students that I'm working with. So I just, kind of can pick my background. If I want a darker background, which is blue now in this case, and say I wanted to pick the pen color and the brush type and size. And so then you select that there, and then you're good to go. It's pretty much anything you want to put on there, you can put on there. Anything you want to write on top of, you can have there. Anything you want as a layer underneath it, any form or document or picture, you can have right there, and you can work, kind of annotate on top of it if you want, all that kind of thing. So I think that pretty much, kind of gives you a visual, and I think we're good. So we're at 3:21. That's all I want to do is make sure you all could see it, because I couldn't share it on this platform. So you can go ahead and stop that if you want, Alana. And if you have, are there any questions before we close up? If you do have any, feel free to ask them in the discussion forum. And that's about it. So thank you all for joining me to kind of learn a little bit about this particular tablet and stylus and software. So again, ProCreate is an amazing. It also has you can get ProCreate on your phone, so you can do a similar thing using your phone, and you could join and share from there without the iPad. But you would have to have a stylus that works with it. So you got to kind of make sure everything's compatible. And with the Apple Pencil second generation, you really need to have a more recent, like maybe 2019 iPad or later. All right, so I think we're good. So thank you very much. Yeah, sure thing. From Johnny, ProCreate is a software used to sync with the laptop. No, so all I'm doing with the iPad is joining a Zoom meeting. That's it. So it's just Zoom. It's free. You join an existing Zoom. So from my PC, I set up the meeting. My laptop is just another, kind of person joining a Zoom meeting. But with screen share, it can screen, and ProCreate is the art tool. So it could be anything. You don't need to use ProCreate. You can join from the iPad and use really anything you want as the screen share, just like you can on a PC. But I'm using ProCreate as an example of a really effective, kind of whiteboard tool almost to use from the iPad. And if you just Google ProCreate, and you'll see it'll come right up and let you know what's what.